Hello everyone and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division in the Platinum Resorts tournament. This video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. So let's go. We're going to start off with hole number 1. We're going to play with the extra mile level 6, 2 bars of topspin and max the side spin to the right. We do want to just end up on the fairway. It doesn't really matter how far we're going to reach on this fairway platform. We just want to reach to a decent level of that fairway, so we will be able to go for the rough bump. And some cases we're going to have headwind, some cases we're going to have tailwind. With headwind you do go with max topspin, and then you might, depending on the driver that you're having, you are using some overpower. So from this position here we do have no problem to reach for the rough bump. It's almost that we're going too far, as we do not want to be in between clubs. Before I take my second shot, do not forget to check down in the video description for direct timestamps to the specific holes in this playthrough. So if you do not want to watch hole number 1, you can press on hole number 6 and then you can go directly there and check. And also have in mind that this wind is not necessarily going to be the wind that we're going to play with in the tournament. So this is a playthrough to try to cover the specific wind situations that we do have, and also going to help prepare for the tournament starts. So 6.1, we're going to play the sniper being in minimum / medium distance, so in between there, 1 bar backspin and 1 bar side spin to the right. We do want to use the ball guideline that we do have with the sniper as well. Have in mind here with tailwind that we're going to have a different push when the ball hits the rough here, which means that the ball guideline is going to be extended. So we're going to adjust around 3 rings here, because we're also going to add for being 10% uphill, which means that the ball is going to be less affected by the wind. So a lot of variables, but you can see we're coming in a little bit too hot still, and we're going to make an eagle, but definitely room for an albatross for that particular approach. If you do not feel comfortable going with the rough bump, you can choose a guardian and then go on the right side of the green, max backspin, just aim there, have a little bit luck of course, but let the ball fall down from the right down towards the pin for a potential albatross there as well. So hole number 2, a par 4, another one of the green at point, and now we're going to play with tailwind as well. And I think it's important to show this hole in tailwind. As for having crosswind or having headwind, we're going to play on the right side. It kind of just it's the only thing that really makes sense, that we're going to play on the right side, giving ourselves a decent way to have a birdie opportunity, I will have to say, from the right side. But if we do have tailwind, we can play it aggressively, and that's the thing that is going to be tricky, but also something that I wanted to show. Our opponent there is using too much topspin. The thing is, on that fairway that he's aiming for, is that it slopes down in the end, which means that having too much topspin going to be a bit dangerous there. The thing that I'm going to do when we do have tailwind is that I'm going to use only 1 bar of topspin here. You can see my ball guideline, even if I stretch it out for being in max overpower, it's going to be extended, which means that I'm not going to have to go with max overpower, but also it's going to be necessary to go with overpower instead of using topspin, as the topspin will kick our ball further and potentially put ourselves in the rough. But with overpower and just a tiny little bit of topspin, we're going to see a very nice roll here, and we're going to stay before the rough. If you do want to go even more aggressively, and especially if you do have a driver that do have like 6, 7, 8 bars of topspin, then we can go with curl and we can try to aim for, you can see here on the game screen on the right side, you do have a very big fairway, and then you can aim for bouncing over the rough to that fairway, but then you need to have curl as well. That is a more aggressive route, but if you can manage to make that, then you're definitely going to just have like a long iron or a short iron towards the pin. So our opponent here is using the rough iron, and that shouldn't be any problem. I kind of suggest for you, especially if we do have tailwind here, that you're using a rough iron that do have some backspin. Like if you don't have an upgraded Nirvana, choose the Amazon or the Machete, so you know that you can aim on the green and don't have to put the rough or the bunker in play. So we are going to go with the Saturn here, or not we, but I'm going to go with the Saturn here. Max backspin, the same type of approach I would have done from the rough, and that will definitely help me big time when it comes to aiming towards the pin. I'm going to use the first bounce on the fairway and then let the second bounce just be close there to the pin, and we are not going to add anything for elevation, and it's very important that we play it just as it is. So we hit it perfect, and is going to get it to bounce very nicely. We're coming very close to making an eagle there on hole number 2. Hole number 3, now we're going to play with the quarterback, and you can play either left or right side. It all, in my opinion, comes down to what type of wind we're going to have. And depending on the wind we're going to have in the tournament, I'm going to show you in that playthrough when we know the tournament wind, what way I prefer, or I would say I want you to play. I'm going to, in the end, have my landing position in the situation where it says +1 with the quarterback level 8, which is just going to be the bottom of the front bunker. 6.4 max side spin, and we're also going with either 2 to 4 bars of backspin. You decide that yourself. The only thing that we do want to focus on here is to get that kick from the left side off the fairway there, and let the ball come in there very nicely with that roll, so it could roll down towards the pin and potentially put us in a situation where we're making hole in one. So a nice shot there, definitely. In if we take regular tour play, that is definitely going to help us to win that particular hole. The thing that we want to do as well, that we can't forget, is that we're going to add 20% to our adjustment. So because we're playing this hole pretty massively downhill, so with some strong wind, it's going to be very dangerous if you're just playing it as it is. So add 20%, and you are from that position going to play this shot in medium distance of your club. So this was hole number 3, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to focus on hole number 4, a course of the Southern Pines. And I would have to say this is one of the easier ones of the Southern Pines with crosswind and tailwind. It could be a very tough one with headwind. If we're going to have headwind in the tournament, it kind of makes us getting into a situation where we do need to have a club with a lot of topspin. And I'm not thinking that you should be changing to a big topper because you don't have the distance. But as you can see here with Apocalypse level 6 and with the topspin then we basically don't need to use any overpower if we play that play. We also don't need to use it now either. We can just play it really as it is. And just play ourselves up front there, putting ourselves past the trees, and that is the one thing that is very important. If we can't get past the trees on the right, then we're going to have a very tough time to make the ball get to the green in 2. But if we can just get through like this, or just even shorter if we want to, then we're going to have no problem to reach for the green in 2. So we are going to pick a driver that gives us as much power as possible combined with topspin. So if you do have a lower level Ekstrom Thor's hammer, like for this, for an example, that could be better than having the Ekstrom I level 6, level 7. So check your bag, take the club that gives you that as much power and topspin as that as possible. That is very important. So there is not going to be everyone that is going to have an Apocalypse level 6. That's why that's why I wanted to be very clear with my explanations there. If you for some reason would be having an Apocalypse level 6 or Apocalypse level 7 and you're not playing in Master, you're still playing in Expert, or you're still playing in Pro, then you can go on the right side if we do have some strong tailwind. I would suggest that you don't go on the right side and bounce over if you're having less than 13 miles per hour in tailwind. That is just that so we can reach there to the top. Very dangerous approach, but definitely going to be possible for us. Now we're going to play with the B52, and here you can play with whatever long iron or whatever wood club, because you're going to be, depending on how far you reach for your drive, you're going to be either wood club minimum distance, or you're going to be medium distance, or you're going to have long iron maximum distance of your club. For me, I don't adjust those 10.9 as it would say according to my note sheet. I'm adjusting it basically just 6 7 rings, and then I do drag it a little bit back as well as my landing position, and then I do go with curl. The reason I do go with that is because I do not want to aim down into the right and lower my trajectory, which will mean that I'm going to lose this distance in my adjustment. So it's basically just a plan to stay away from the right side, and it's very easy, especially when we go with curl, that if we aim too much down into the right, that we're going to get stuck there on the right side, and that is, I would say, one of the toughest positions that we can be, even if we're close to the green, because with a Spitfire or a low level Malibu, we're not going to have the backspin to make the ball stop. Then have to go with a very short dunk, and the thing to prevent that is to use from the rough, use a club with at least 4 or 5 bars of backspin. The Racer would be perfect, or you go as a sandwich, you go with the Malibu. So, hole number 5, we're going to go into the Milano courses for 5, 6, and 7. So, the Milano course here is going to give us a very, what can I say, very tough one. Hole number 5 here is one of the longest par 5s that we do have, but also that it's the hardest, in my opinion, hardest par 5 to make an eagle on, because you're going to be so dependent on the wind. If you don't have tailwind and tailwind, then you're going to have, yeah, then you're not going to reach for the green in 2. And then we need to play conservative and just lay up and try to find ourselves with the best type of situation possible. So our opponent's going with a slice, and it looks neat, and sure, you can do that, but in the end it's not necessary. And you can go with the max overpower with your regular with the regular curl instead. And I kind of suggest that, as we do not gain any advantage for doing a slice or a hook on this specific drive. Apocalypse 5, and of course you're going to play this course with the driver that gives you the most power and topspin, because we do want to go over. With headwind we can't go over, we're not going to reach, but with slight headwind, but with more crosswind as we're having here, with a club that is upgraded as mine, then we're going to reach. And that is going to be able to reach even with an extra mile level 7, level 8. Thor's Hammer level 4, level 5 is Thor's Hammer level 4, level 5 is definitely going to be too tough. Now for the second shot here, then we're going to play straightforward. You can play left. You can see there on the left side on the game screen that we can lay up there, play with a sniper for the second shot, and have a good opportunity for an eagle. But we can also play straightforward, try to find ourselves in a way for going with a short iron or a long iron from distance. The thing that I forgot about the drive is that we're going to add 10% extra to that adjustment because we're playing downhill. It's very easy to forget about that, and me myself did almost forget about that now. So 10% extra with your adjustment, otherwise, especially in tailwind, you're going to underestimate how far the ball is going to go in the air. So sniper here, and for the second club here, if we do, let's say there you do have the left side there where we can lay up, and then we do have a sniper towards the pin where we're going to bounce there on the top. The thing that I was on my way to say is, let's say we do have tailwind for a drive. Let's see if we find that out for the tournament. Sure, that's perfect. Then we need to play with a club with as much power and topspin for the second shot as well, which is going to be the big dog or it's going to be the cataclysm. So then you're not going to go with sniper. But if we do have headwind or we do have crosswind for the first shot, then we know we're going to have the same for the second shot. Then we can play with the sniper because, again, we're not going to reach for the green too. Then it's easier to play with a club with more accuracy and a better ball guideline like the sniper compared to the big dog. So now I do lay up straightforward, and now our opponent is going to be first and foremost going to be kind of in between clubs. If you do want to go directly towards the green, you do want to go with the thorn. You don't want to go with a long iron. Even if you do have a Saturn, you can't go for the pin because you do not have that much on the green to go with. Our opponent is aiming out for going for the rough bump here, but changes his mind, and I think that is good that he does that, because that is going to Otherwise, going to be with the Goliath going for that rough bump, lower trajectory. Oh my god, it's going to be a very tough adjustment. So he does the right thing, trying to go for the bounce here. But in the end, when you're having a trouble deciding what to do, then you're always going to struggle when it comes to the execution as well. Sometimes hit it great, sometimes not, and that is going to be very dangerous. So always have a plan how you're going to do. If you're going to play it this way, have a plan that, okay, if I do come in between clubs with my long iron and short iron, then I'm going to play with the bounce with my short iron. If I do have the distance for it, then I'm going to go directly for the green. That will help you to not spend 15-20 seconds to try to look for a position with your landing position, which is going to just make you stressed in the end. I'm going to try to go for the green here. I know it's a very tough approach with the thorn, but I love to go with backspin with the thorn. But hitting the fringe there is definitely going to be giving us a very different bounce. So let's just go over here to hole number 6 instead, and we can just leave by hole number 5 that it is a very tough one. Be happy with a birdie. Don't be mad if you miss the eagle. 5 bars of backspin with the sniper level 9 here. We're going to aim on that island. 5.4 in headwind. We're going to add 10% extra to our adjustment here, which is because we're playing downhill. So now we're going to go for the island, and we are going to focusing on hitting that shot perfect. The thing is here that I'm not using any side spin to either direction whatsoever. I'm just using the backspin here. The important part in this particular shot is that I'm having the ball guideline going through the pin, so we can see it after the pin. The reason I do that is because with headwind we're going to be getting a compressed ball guideline, which means that if I would be aiming, so I'm having the ball guideline going just to the pin, that means we're going to go short, as the ball guideline is going to be shorter, because having headwind means that the ball is going to lose speed when it travels in the air and then hitting the ground. If we would be having crosswind here, I would be going for the rough bump, and I'm going to show you that particular shot in the tournament playthrough if we do get that wind. If we're having tailwind or headwind on this particular hole, then I don't feel comfortable going with the rough bump, because we're going to either have to aim up on the green, or we're going to have to aim down into the bunker. And aiming down into the bunker especially lower our trajectory, and it's going to make it a bit tougher for us to adjust with the rings that we do have. But don't get me wrong, the rough bump is definitely a very good approach to making hole in one. But I limit myself to, when I'm having straight wind, like straight tailwind, straight crosswind, island, crosswind in some form, then I go rough bump. Hole number 7 here, so we're running here quickly. So hole number 7, this is definitely an eagle hole in my opinion. If we do have crosswind slash tailwind, then this, in my opinion, is almost a must eagle. I know that is tough to say a must eagle when we do have to play with the thorn or the hornet for the second shot if we can reach over with a drive, but it is because the second shot it's nothing special really. We need to just playing it as it is. But first the drive, 10% extra with the extra mile, and that means with every other club as well, because we're playing downhill. Do not forget those 10% extra, because those 10% extra could either put yourself in the rough or in the bunker there in front, and then this hole all of a sudden becomes very tough. Now I do cut the rough there, which is not going to be the ultimate situation, but we managed to still get over there to the fairway, and that just means that we're going to have a short iron towards the pin. So depending on how far you're going to reach on this fairway island here in the rough, that means that you're going to either have a short iron, or from the very top you're going to play with a wedge. And for me, that rather play with the thorn than the endbringer. I definitely see this situation as a little bit better situation for me than having to be straightforward. That's each for their own, but that is at least in my opinion. So 4.8, not that much wind, and now we're going to aim up and giving this ball 5 bars of a backspin. as a start, so we can see the ball guideline here. We're going to aim for where the uphill or the downhill, whatever you want to call it, do stop. So we're going to just aim there on the top, and then going to line the ball guideline to the pin, and then adjust our numbers. The thing that we do want here, instead of having to go with the ball guideline where it's uphill or downhill to change our position with the ball guideline, then I do always aim a little bit further up to get a very firm and consistent bounce. Do get it very, very close, and in another day that might have been an eagle. Hole number 8. Now we're going to play with the sniper in tailwind. We're going to play with a driver in headwind, and that is going to be the difference in this particular shot. So sniper, max side spin, and 1 bar top spin. You can see the shadow. I'm aiming up with the cutoff of the shadow there as a reference. I'm going to play this one 6.5 rings. When it comes to this adjustment, 10% extra for being in max position of our club, or max distance of our club. Tiny bit of curl to the right, because we do have wind that's coming left to right. If I would be having wind right to left, if we do have wind left to right, and I wouldn't be playing with any type of curl whatsoever, then the travel path of the ball is going to help us get that extra push towards the right. So now we did get that roll, and we wanted to get to the top of the green and make the ball fall back down. Very important, so you can give yourself that opportunity to make that eagle. In the regular tournament, regular tour play, the pin is a little bit trickier to find. The reason for that is that the slope down towards the pin is not that easy to manage to find that it was before. You're going to see it in the tournament, and then we're definitely going to play. We're going to play the same way anyway, and just might have to find a little bit change when it comes to our spot there on the top of the green. So that was hole number 8. Now we go to hole number 9. So just quick hole number 8. Tailwind, wood club, headwind, driver. That's basically the thing you want to focus on. So in my opinion, I would be picking the sniper as a wood club and the quarterback as a driver. So now we're going to play hole number 9, another very tough par 5. We have been playing this one 2 or 3 times in tournaments before, and it has always been a key hole, as we are ending up with it as hole number 9 every single time. And it kind of, especially in the last tournament where we did have tailwind, or like slight crosswind combined with tailwind, that became to be a must eagle to win the tournament. And then we need to play it absolutely spot on here. First and foremost, you do add 10% to your drive, because we're playing downhill. So now I do try to go over the bunker, and the reason I did this in this tutorial is to kind of show you how much it kind of takes to get over the bunker there. So even with an Apocalypse level 5, level 6, I do at 240 yards, and with 12.5 in tailwind with a Kingmaker, then we're not going to reach even if you hit it perfect. So you do want to have the cutoff with a power 3 ball at 13.5 to make sure that even you hit great, you can go over. With any other type of wind, if you still want to play with a power 3 ball, then you can bounce before the rough there. And I do suggest that if you do have tailwind, play with the big topper, because the big topper has more topspin than any other driver except for the Thor's hammer. So if you do have Thor's hammer level 6, then of course go with Thor's hammer level 6 that do have the same amount of topspin as the big topper, but otherwise the big topper is going to be absolute excellent driver there, and you're going to see many players play with that if we are having tailwind. In regular tour play, as you can see, the wind here changing from tailwind then to headwind, and that is not going to happen in the tournament. So if we do have tailwind, we're going to have some tailwind / crosswind for our second shot when going towards the pin. Then we're going to play with a wood club that gives us as much distance and topspin as possible. You can see that rough on top there. The thing we want to do is to not bounce before the rough I did now. We need to go over that rough on the left side, bounce ourselves in the rough, and roll out towards the green. I know we're playing with the sniper now, but as a general tour club here, when playing these this hole is definitely going to be a little bit tougher when it comes uh, to changing to the club. I'd rather play with a sniper in a regular tour game than I would be playing with a big dog in general tour game, especially for shootouts, etc. But in the regular tournament, we're going to see what type of win we're going to have, and then we're going to decide after that. So tailwind, then we're going to go for the green, and then we need to have then this is a must eagle. Otherwise, this is not a must eagle, then it's a birdie hole. So let's see what we do get as wind. But this is the playthrough for Pro and Expert Division in the Platinum Resorts tournament. Please feel free to make any type of comments or questions down in the comment section below. Also, check out patreon.com/golf/Tommy if you do want to get the text guys before everyone else, or maybe book a training session. I'm going to stream basically every day during the tournament week as normal, playing all the divisions, showing you how to play. But also Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday they're coming playthroughs with the regular tournament win, so we actually can choose the absolute correct club for every type of situation. So this video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Platinum Resorts tournament.